Hello and welcome back. First of all, I want to congratulate you for finishing passage 1 of test 1 with me successfully. You guys have come a long way, you've learned a great deal, and I am uber proud of you. So the only way to keep getting better is through practice. This exam is not difficult, and you don't get better through magic. It's really not magic. You just have to put in the work for it and keep practicing all the wonderful tips and tricks that we have shared with you along the way. There's more to come, but use the ones that you've already learned. Number 2 is you ought to have this document, this passage already opened on your end. If you don't have it, here is a link. You can click on this and read the document right from your screen if you prefer. Preferably, you should have this printed out on paper so you can fill in the answers as we go on and you can follow along that way. Also, one last thing I want to remind you of is we're going to be using the 4 reading strategies that we talked about. For a quick reminder, if you need one, just click on the little blue icon that's hovering on your screen right now and you will see those 4 strategies. But real quickly, they are: you're going to read the excerpt. Number 2, we will skim and annotate. Number 3, we're going to be chunking. And number 4, we are going to, for some of the questions, come up with our own answer before looking at the choices. So a quick glance at this test, we will see that we have about 81 lines. So 3/4 of 81 is right around 60-ish. So we can read up until around this area. If it's like too abrupt of a stop, we can maybe finish up to the end of 65. We should probably just read up to 65, honestly. That's what I think we should do. So with that said, we can go ahead and get started. Remember, step 1 is to read the excerpt. Let's go for it. This passage is adapted from Francis Flynn and Gabrielle Adams' Money Can't Buy Love, Asymmetric Beliefs About the Gift Price and Feelings of Appreciation. We don't care about what year this was written, nor do we care about the publisher. We also don't care about the author's names. The only thing here that's of use is Money Can't Buy Love, Asymmetric Beliefs About Gift Price and Feelings of Appreciation. As a reminder, there will not be any questions on or about the excerpt. The whole point of us reading this is just to get us in the right mind frame and prepare us about what we are getting ready to delve into. So we know that this passage is about money not being able to buy love, and there's an asymmetry in beliefs about gift price and feelings of appreciation. And that's really helpful. Now, let's go ahead and read it. We'll read and annotate. Remember, when you're annotating, we're just using 1 to 3 words. And if it serves us better to just use a diagram, then we will do just that. We will draw a little diagram off to the side. All right. Every day, millions of shoppers hit the stores in full force, both online and on foot, searching frantically for the perfect gift. Last year, Americans spent over $30 billion at retail stores in the month of December alone. Aside from purchasing holiday gifts, most people regularly buy presents for other occasions throughout the year, including weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and baby showers. Having read this much, this is a pretty long paragraph, so I think it would be nice to annotate what we've learned. So we know that there's mention of a whole lot of money being spent, so I'm going to use double dollar signs to show a lot of money being spent right there. There's also all these occasions that people buy gifts. So here I am going to put a lot of gifts. So I'm going to write gifts, a lot of them, and then we can read on, starting with this. This frequent experience of gift giving can engender ambivalent feelings in gift givers. Many relish the opportunity to buy presents because gift giving offers a powerful means to build stronger bonds with one's closest peers. Now, I think we should annotate here. Remember when we were going over annotation, we said we want to keep an eye for cause and effect. And there's a couple of things that stand out to me here. It says there's a result. It's like a cause and effect. Gift giving has this effect. So something about feelings as a result of gift giving. And also there's another one here, like a reason. Why do people give gifts? So there's the why as to why people give gifts. It's because they help build stronger relationships or stronger bonds with one's closest peers. Those are the types of things you want to keep an eye on. So I just wrote why for, why do people want to give gifts? We'll read on. So at the same time, many dread the thought of buying gifts. They worry that their purchases will disappoint rather than delight the intended recipients. All right, so I think that's all I want to annotate for the first paragraph. Let's read the second paragraph from line 17 all the way down to 30. We may pause in between if we find something useful or worthy of note to annotate it. Okay, so let's go. Anthropologists describe gift giving as a positive social process, serving various political, religious, and psychological functions. Economists, however, offer a less favorable view. According to Wolfogel, gift giving represents an objective waste of resources. People buy gifts that recipients would not choose to buy on their own, or at least not spend as much money to purchase, a phenomenon referred to as the dead weight loss of Christmas. So let's pause here for a minute and see if we can annotate some. I think there's a lot of good information here. One thing that stood out, there's actually one viewpoint here from anthropologists. So this is a viewpoint from one group. Viewpoint one from anthropologists, and they're saying that gift giving is, they describe gift giving as a positive social process. There's another view, sounds like it's an opposing view from economists. So this is viewpoint two from economists, and they're not in agreement. They think that gift giving represents a waste of resources. So it's nice to know what each viewpoint is saying. At least we know where to go find it if we need it. As we read further, we find another thing that we said we need to keep an eye on when we were talking about how to annotate. Definitions. There's a new word in here that's been defined. There's a phenomenon referred to as the dead weight loss. So here we can write down dead weight just in case it's mentioned in the question. And then let's keep going. To wit, givers are likely to spend $100 to purchase a gift that receivers would only spend $80 to buy themselves. This dead weight loss suggests that gift givers are not very good at predicting what gifts others will appreciate. So again, here's a cause effect. Dead weight loss has an effect. So this is another effect of dead weight loss. And just to connect these two, I'm going to draw an arrow like the dead weight loss pointing to effect. Now, remember, this is just one very simple way of keeping track of what it is that you're reading. Of course, the way I would annotate is not exactly the way you'd annotate. And I've had tons of practice doing a lot of these exams. So the goal here is you need to just start learning on what to keep an eye on, specifically cause and effect, the tone, definitions, viewpoints, and you'll get better with time. So don't be overwhelmed at this point. Let's just keep going and take note, not so much of how I write the annotations, but what it is that we are looking for in these passages. So let's go on. We can read up to the end now. So starting with, that in itself is not surprising to social psychologists. All right, here enters the third group of people that hadn't been mentioned yet. There's a third group here, social psychologists that are being mentioned. So here, this sounds like another viewpoint. Research has found that often people struggle to take into account others' perspectives. Their insights are subject to egocentrism, social projection, and multiple attribution errors. All right, and that completes that second paragraph. Let's move on to the third. What is surprising is that gift givers have considerable experience acting as both gift givers and gift recipients, but nevertheless tend to overspend each time they set out to purchase a meaningful gift. So in this part right here, we can annotate struggle there. So just in case there's mention of struggle in the passage, we know where to go find it. Let's go on. In the present research, we propose a unique psychological explanation for this overspending problem. That is that gift givers equate how much they spend with how much recipients will appreciate the gift. The more expensive the gift, the stronger a gift recipient's feelings of appreciation. Although a link between gift price and feelings of appreciation might seem intuitive, to gift givers, such an assumption may be unfounded. So it sounds like although there might be a link, it might be unfounded. So we'll keep going. Indeed, we propose that gift recipients will be less inclined to base their feelings of appreciation on the magnitude of a gift than givers assume. So that's important. We'll make a note of that, just put a star here. And then we'll go to line 51. Why do gift givers assume that gift price is closely linked to gift recipients' feelings of appreciation? Big question here. And we go on to maybe being offered up the answer to this. It says, perhaps givers believe that bigger, that is, more expensive gifts convey stronger signals of thoughtfulness and consideration. According to Kammerer and others, gift giving represents a symbolic ritual whereby gift givers attempt to signal their positive attitudes towards the intended recipient and their willingness to invest resources in a future relationship. Gift giving is a symbolic ritual. So we write here symbolic ritual. And gift givers are attempting to signal positive attitudes toward the intended recipient. So I'm going to use a heart here just to show love. I'm going to summarize this as if you love someone, you want to give them a gift. And you just use your imagination. Make this make sense for you. Okay, we can go on. It says, in this sense, gift givers may be motivated to spend more money on a gift in order to send a stronger signal to their intended recipient. As for gift recipients, they may not construe smaller and larger gifts as representing smaller and larger signals of thoughtfulness and consideration. So here, there's a conflict. One group thinks the more money I spend to show my appreciation, the more that person is going to appreciate it. And the person who's receiving may not necessarily understand it that way. They may not construe it in the same way. So now we've gotten to the 3/4 mark of this passage. We've chunked it. So it is time for us to try and answer as many questions as we possibly can using what we've already read. So I am going to bring on the questions. It's going to be a split screen just so it makes the scrolling easier. I don't have to make you guys seasick by going left and right so much or up and down so much. It'll be a little bit better. So just follow along. Enter the first question. It goes, the authors most likely use the examples in lines 1 through 9 of the passage to highlight what? Now, remember what we talked about. Every question has a specific concept behind it. This is the author focused type of question, and we know this because it mentions authors in it. So let's read that one more time. So the authors most likely use the examples in lines 1 through 9 of the passage to highlight what? So let's go back over the passage, lines 1 through 9. 1 starts here, of course, and 9 ends right over here. So that box. Every day, millions of shoppers hit the stores in full force, both online and on foot, searching frantically for the perfect gift. Last year, Americans spent over $30 billion at retail stores in the month of December alone. Aside from purchasing holiday gifts, most people regularly buy presents for other occasions throughout the year, including weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and baby showers. Why did the author include those examples from that passage? Is it to show the regularity with which people shop for gifts? To highlight the recent increase in the amount of money spent on gifts? So that one doesn't seem to make any sense. There was nothing about an increase in the amount of money spent, so B would not make sense. How about C? The anxiety gift shopping causes for consumers. This passage so far is not about anxiety. The next one is the number of special occasions involving gift giving. So A and D seem pretty sensible. We've already eliminated B and C, the obviously wrong answers. That's a major strategy to help you improve your chances of getting these questions right. So you now have a 50% chance because you're down to 2 choices. So which of these two makes more sense? D is very precise. The number of occasions involving gift giving, that's to say that there is a very distinct number of times that you can gift people. And I don't think that passage is saying that. I think the author's goal and purpose here is to highlight the regularity with which people shop for gifts. That's the better answer between A and D. All right, question 12. In line 10, the word ambivalent most nearly means, and this is a vocab in context, what we call the line-sided item. We want to go and see if we know what the word ambivalent means in context. Let's go ahead and see if we can do that. So line 10, ambivalent right here. This frequent experience of gift giving can engender ambivalent feelings in gift givers. So this is a straight up vocab question. The word ambivalent means mixed feelings. So, and realistic is not a synonym. Conflicted, yes, that could be mixed feelings. Apprehensive, nope. Supportive, nope. So B would have to be the best answer because conflicted means mixed feelings. So question 13 and 14 are the pair that one of them is a detail little picture question followed by an evidence question. So I just thought best to pair these so you can actually make more sense of them. Let's read them. Question 13. The authors indicate that people value gift giving because they feel it does what? So we can actually apply the my answer strategy. So don't look at the answer choices just yet. Remember that my answer encourages you to come up with an answer of your own. And then once you do that, come back to the answer choices, see if any of those 4 choices match up with your answer. If there's one choice that does that, you have a 99.9% of being right. So authors indicate that people value gift giving because they feel it what? This is something I feel like we actually annotated. This is a why. Why do people value gift giving? And I think that was indicated in here where we wrote why. And it says, many relish the opportunity to buy presents because gift giving offers a powerful means to build stronger bonds with one's closest peers. So let's have a look at the choices, see if any of them matches up with what we have. A is functions as a form of self-expression. Not really. Is an inexpensive way to show appreciation. Nope, that's not what it said. Requires the gift recipient to reciprocate. Nope, it didn't say that either. D says can serve to strengthen a relationship. That's precisely what it said. And we can go with that. And then the next question is, of course, tied to 13. It's the evidence-based question. Which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question? Well, thankfully, we had already annotated. This is the magic of annotating. It saves you so much time. We found that answer right in this region. So around line 10 to 13, yep. So that makes A the answer to question 14. And now we can move on to the next question, question 15. This is a detail / little picture type of question. Let's go for it. The social psychologist mentioned in paragraph 2, lines 17 to 34, would likely describe the dead weight loss phenomenon as... Okay, so social psychologists, we knew that there were 3 viewpoints. We had anthropologists, we had economists, and lastly, we had social psychologists, which I believe was a 3rd one. Yes. And the question is, how would they describe the dead weight loss phenomenon? So let's see, what did they say about it? Let's start here. This dead weight loss suggests that gift givers are not very good at predicting what gifts others will appreciate. That in itself is not surprising to social psychologists. All right, so it's right there. It says social psychologists are not surprised by the dead weight loss. So what can we say about that? Would they call that predictable if you're not surprised? Yeah, I think you can say that something is predictable, but just to check the other answers. Questionable? No. Disturbing? No. Unprecedented? No. If something doesn't surprise you, it means it's predictable. It's not unprecedented. It's not disturbing. It's not questionable. So A would have to be the answer to question 15. We can move on to the next question. All right, let's go for it. Question 16 and 17 are tied together because one's a detailed little picture question followed by the evidence support question for it. Let's go for it. So the passage indicates that the assumption made by gift givers in lines 41 through 44 may be what? So let's go up to lines 41 through 44, starting maybe here, the gift givers. So gift givers equate how much they spend Let's see. With how much recipients will appreciate the gift. The more expensive the gift, the stronger a gift recipient's feelings of appreciation. Although a link between gift price and feelings of appreciation might seem intuitive to gift givers, such an assumption may be unfounded. Okay, so that means such an assumption may be unfounded. So I think we can answer 16 using that information there. The passage indicates that the assumption made by gift givers in lines 41 through 44. Well, it's unfounded, which means what of these four choices? Does unfounded and insincere have the same effect? No, insincere is not a synonym for unfounded. Unreasonable and unfounded? No, unreasonable is not the same thing as unfounded. Incorrect and unfounded? Yes. Substantiated, not the synonym for unfounded. So yeah, C would have to be the answer to that question. And now that gives us the next question, which is 17. Which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question? And then when you glance at these, we start at 53. So the answer is not going to be from where we highlighted, actually. It's going to be from someplace further down in this passage. So the first thing that's talked about is 53 through 55. We should look there. So 53 through 55, I'm going to change the highlight color here for contrast. Starts right here. Perhaps gift givers believe that the bigger, more expensive gifts conveys a stronger signals of thoughtfulness and consideration. I don't think that's it. So we'll go on to the next one, which is 55 to 60. According to Camera 98 and others, gift giving represents a symbolic ritual where gift givers attempt to signal their positive attitudes towards the intended recipient and their willingness to invest resources in a future relationship. I don't think that conveys unfounded beliefs that the more expensive gift, the more appreciated it'll be. Let's look at 63 through 65. So 63 starts here. As for gift recipients, they may not construe smaller and larger gifts as representing smaller and larger signals of thoughtfulness and consideration. And that's the answer. That's where it is. So C would have to be the answer to this question. All right, and that allows us to then go on to the next question. Question 18. As it is used in line 54, convey most nearly means. This is a word in context, a vocabulary in context question. So we can go straight to 54 and find that word right here, convey. And convey is to communicate in this context. When you convey something, perhaps givers believe that bigger, that is more expensive gifts, convey or communicate stronger signals of thoughtfulness. So D would have to be it. It's not transport, it's not counteract, it's not exchange. That was one of the nicer questions on this passage. So we can move on to the next question. Question 19 is an author focus question. Let's go ahead and read it. The authors refer to work by Camera and others in line 56 in order to do what? Here we can apply the my answer strategy where we try to come up with our own solution or answer without reading the choices. So lines 56, which are right in here. This is where Camera is talked about. Why was this author brought in? For what reason? So we have to read what's slightly above it, starting maybe at line 51. Why do gift givers assume the gift price is closely linked to gift recipients' feelings of appreciation? Perhaps givers believe that bigger, that is more expensive gifts, convey stronger signals of thoughtfulness and consideration. According to Camera and others, gift giving represents a symbolic ritual whereby gift givers attempt to signal their positive attitudes towards the intended recipient and their willingness to invest resources in a future relationship. So it sounds like after this question was asked, something was proposed over here as an answer to it, and then as an extension to that answer, or to rather solidify or make that answer even more valid, they brought in a works cited. So that sounds like that is to support the answer to this previous question. Now, let's read the choices and see if there's anything even remotely close to our answer. It says, in order to offer an explanation, and that sounds like that's what it's doing. There was a question asked. An answer came and then an explanation followed. So I think A would make sense here, but let's leave it open and look at the other choices before making a final decision. Introduce an argument. Nope, there was not a new argument being introduced. Question a motive. Nope, that was not it. Support a conclusion. Now, this was not a conclusion. It seems as though A and D might be both right. And again, notice we've eliminated the two obviously wrong answers. We now have a 50-50 chance of getting the question right. So support a conclusion would not be correct because this first word here perhaps is not definitive. It's not telling you, hey, we are concluding. It's offering a suggestion. So it's got to be A. The work cited, the authors referred to that work by camera to offer an explanation. All right, and then we go to the next question, question 20. This is a data interpretation question. Let's go ahead and read it. The graph following the passage offers evidence that gift givers base their predictions on how much a gift will be appreciated on what. So based on the graph, and the graph is over here, look at the y-axis. That's mean appreciation. Look at the x-axis. There, that's role, and we have two roles, giver and recipient. And the key over here, the darker shade, is for less expensive gifts. The lighter shade is for more expensive gifts. So how are these gifts appreciated? The giver looks like they appreciate the more expensive gift because that's higher than this. And the recipient looks like they appreciate the less expensive gift more. So let's go back to the question and see if we can actually answer it. The graph following the passage offers evidence that gift givers base their predictions, gift givers, right? So he tells us where to look, base their predictions on how much a gift will be appreciated on. So gift givers based their gift giving on, this is the higher one, so you have to go with this, the more expensive gift. So the monetary value is B, which seems to be the correct answer. The more expensive gift. So not that, not this, not this. Now we can go on to the last question for this passage, question 21. It's another data interpretation problem. Let's go ahead and read it. The authors would likely attribute the differences in gift giver and recipient mean appreciation as represented in the graph to what? In other words, the difference in the appreciation, the different levels for the gift giver. What would the author attribute those to? And so here's a gift giver, mean appreciation between here and here. That's going to have to come from the passage. Let's see. Let's go through the choices, see if we can find it from there. An inability to shift perspective, an increasingly materialistic culture. So let's go back to A, an inability to shift perspective. I think there was some mention of perspective because it said right around here, what is surprising is that gift givers have considerable experience acting as both gift givers and gift recipients, but nevertheless tend to overspend each time they set out to purchase a meaningful gift. So that sounds like you can't really put on a different hat. Sometimes you're the giver, sometimes you're the recipient. That's, to me, sounds like shifting perspective. However, remember that we haven't read all the lines for this passage yet, so let's keep reading. Maybe we will be able to finish it, maybe not. We still need to go back and read the rest of it. B is saying an increasingly materialistic culture. I don't think there was any mention of that at all. So a growing opposition to gift giving. I don't think that was even in the passage at all. A misunderstanding of intentions, maybe. So for this question, can't really make a decision. Let's just go back and read the rest of this. We chunked it and stopped at 65. Let's read on from 66. The notion of gift givers and gift recipients being unable to account for the other party's perspective. Oh my lord, that is it. The notion of gift givers and gift recipients being unable to account for the other party's perspective seems puzzling, because people slip in and out of these roles every day, and in some cases multiple times in the course of the same day. Yet, despite the extensive experience that people have as both givers and receivers, they often struggle to transfer information gained from one role, e.g. as a giver, and apply it in another complementary role, e.g. as a receiver. In theoretical terms, people fail to utilize information about their own preferences and experiences in order to produce more efficient outcomes in their exchange relations. In practical terms, people spend hundreds of dollars each year on gifts, but somehow never learn to calibrate their gift expenditures according to personal insight. So yes, the thing we were looking for is actually up here. The notion of gift givers and gift recipients being unable to account for the other party's perspective. It's got to be A, inability to shift perspective. And that, dear friends, completes this passage. Next, we will be going over passage number 3 of test number 1, and I will see you there.